This is the Marketing Made Easy for HR Consultants podcast, a show to help independent UK-based HR consultants get a pipeline of perfect fit, high-paying clients without expensive adverts, time-consuming social media activities, or energy-sapping and monotonous networking meetings. I'm your host, Nick Paninsky, author of How to Land Your Dream Client, a book which explains everything you need to know to get every sale and client you ever want. And if that sounds interesting, then make sure to grab your copy from the influential consultant website today. That being said, let's get into today's show. Hello there, and welcome back to another episode of Marketing Made Easy for HR Consultants with me, Nick Paninsky. Today's episode is a little bit different. I'm just gonna riff. I'm just gonna say what I'm thinking, because I got contacted recently by somebody on LinkedIn. She was asking me about SEO, what my thoughts were on SEO, whether or not I helped with SEO, and I shared some thoughts about it. And then they replied, and I'll come back to that and share my thoughts on SEO in a second. But she replied to me and she said, "So, do you mainly just focus on LinkedIn generation and email marketing?" And then I ended up going off on not a rant as such, but there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 paragraphs. And I thought that was really interesting that I got asked that, because firstly, there is so much content out there that I share. Secondly, there's obviously my website and I've got my book and whatever else. So I thought it was kind of clear what it is that I do and how I help HR consultants build their business. But obviously it isn't. Perhaps it isn't. Perhaps I'm missing something. So I wanted to do this quick episode and just talk really about what it is that I do and what my aim is, really. And my aim, I guess my mantra is to do, to follow the Pareto principle, to focus on the results, focus on the tasks which get the results quickly and efficiently, right? So, that Pareto principle, the 20-80 rule or whatever. My mantra is to lean into that, to only do those activities which will generate leads, clients, sales, and profits. That is my, that's my mantra. That's my thing, right? And this is why it's all about, as far as I'm concerned, it's about being strategic. It's about being focused on what it is that you want to achieve and the easiest and the quickest way of achieving that. Now, this is one of the reasons. Let me take it step by step, and let me link it back to my book, my philosophy. Right? This is one of the reasons why I'm so enthusiastic about having a niche, right? Because if you are a HR consultant or any business owner and you go into business and you say that you will work with anyone, or you say SMEs, and I say, that is not leaning into the 20-80 rule. That is leaving yourself open to, you have no intent about who it is that you want to work with. If I say to people, when they tell me they want to work with SMEs or any business out there who needs help scaling, I say to them, all right, well, great, go and find 100 leads by next Friday. And they look at me with shock, like the idea is ridiculous. Because it is a ridiculous idea. How if you tell me that you want to work with SMEs or businesses that want to scale or businesses that have 10 or more employees or something along those lines, I get it. I understand why you're saying that. But in the real world, that's really difficult to manage, right? If I tell you to go and find 100 leads, you'll struggle. If I said to you, go to a website like People Per Hour and hire a freelancer and tell them to find you a database of 100 leads, they'll struggle because they have no idea what you're looking for. If you go networking and you say you're looking to speak to a business owner who is struggling with their HR stuff and they are looking to scale their business, there is no data point in their head. They will not know who to refer you to, right? But let's flip that around. Let's talk about niching. If you say that you are looking, you are the HR consultant for hairdressers, for example, and I'm not saying you should be, I'm just saying, right? Maybe that could be your niche, right? If you went to that same freelancer on people per hour or Fiverr or whatever and said, I want 100 hairdressers, they would be able to find you 100 hairdressers. If I said to you, find 100 leads by next Friday, and you know that you work with hairdressers, you'd be able to find 100 hairdressers. If you went networking, right, and you said, I'm looking to connect with hairdressers, everyone in the room knows a hairdresser, right? And then the next time they go to the hairdresser and they're interacting with that hairdresser and they're like, oh, how's things, blah, blah, blah. And all of a sudden they've forgotten about you. But as soon as that hairdresser says, oh, yeah, well, we've had staff issues, Stacey's left, and now we need to find a replacement. Oh, you're having employee issues. Oh, God. Do you know, I know this HR expert. She's wonderful. I'll be able to put you in touch with her. Let me get my phone out. I'll get you connected now. Equally, right, do you see how this leans into the 2080 principle? This leans into getting leads, clients, and sales and profits. Because we're being intentional. We know who it is that we're looking for, right? And they know that you are for them, and you know that you are for them. That is half the battle of lead generation. Like, it's already half the battle. Now, it's half the battle won. Now, let's take this a step further, right? So if you say that you are the HR consultant for hairdressers, right, then that means that you know how to go and then get those leads, right? Lead generation then becomes possible because you know where they hang out. You know that posting on LinkedIn is a waste of your time. And you know that more than likely, you're probably going to want to be on Instagram, for example, and you're going to want to connect with as many hairdressers as possible on there, right? And then you're going to put out messages which relate to them. And that is going to make them think, okay, she gets me. I understand this. I'm going to explore this situation rather than HR consultant who works with SMEs. The hairdresser looks at it and goes, well, this is for someone else because I'm not an SME, right? So this is why I am so adamant about niching, is because it is intentional. It is strategic. It is like having a sniper rifle. It is, it's like that golden thread that's going to piece everything together. Because once you have that audience, then you understand what it is that you need to sell to them. Again, we're being strategic. We are being intentional. Rather than turning up and saying, I'll work with any business that goes and I will provide HR services. You know that you work with hairdressers. Then you know what kind of services those hairdressers need. So they don't want HR services, right? That's a bit of information for you, just in case you were curious and it missed you. They're not interested. What they want is a dream world. They want to get away from the pain in their lives. And that is HR, but HR is the bridge that gets them from pain into pleasure. So what you can do is package up your services and sell them as solutions that they are looking for. So, you can brand these packages in things that make sense for that hairdresser. So that when that hairdresser gets onto your website or starts looking at all your services and they see branded HR services packages, but they are branded in hairdresser terms. And, one of your packages is the short back and sides, for example. The hairdresser goes, ooh, this is interesting. This is quirky. And all your pictures relate to hairdressing stuff and all that other stuff. This is marketing. This helps the person go from knowing nothing about you to knowing you and liking you. You are building that relationship with this hairdresser without you even being in the room. You are being intentional. You are being strategic with your marketing, with your with your business. And then that makes sales easier. I say to my clients, like, somebody meets you and they are 0 out of 10 on the scale. And they don't know you, they don't like you, they don't trust you. You've got to get them to a 10. Now, the marketing can do as much or as little of that work as possible. But the better marketing you have, because you know who your target audience is, because you know what you are selling to them, that moves them along this scale so that sales has to do less of the work, right? Hopefully that makes sense. That is my mantra. We have to focus on the tasks which get results quickly and efficiently. So that might not necessarily mean posting on LinkedIn. It might not necessarily mean going LinkedIn, going networking. You know, I think I'm rather not famous, infamous. If you've seen any of my content, you'll know that I rail against networking. And the reason that I rail against networking is I understand networking can get clients, but it can't do it at scale. It's not how you build a business. You can't just, it's slow, it's unsustainable, it's uncontrollable, right? You can't just turn up with your business cards and expect to have a £70,000 business, or £100,000. Networking takes time. People meet you, but when they go networking, they're also very inclined to find out about whether or not they can sell you their stuff. And then that becomes like these competing goals. They are working against one another. And, these are one of the reasons why I rail against networking so much. It seems to be that everyone thinks when they go self-employed as a HR consultant, you can just say that you work with anyone, you sell any HR service under the sun, update the LinkedIn, grab a website, go networking, hey presto. All of this is hope. This isn't being strategic. This isn't saying who you're going to serve, how you're going to serve them. This is hope. This is hoping that when you go networking, you meet someone who you can help. This is hoping that you meet someone who knows someone who you could help. This is hoping that somebody clicks on your landing page or website or whatever, and they want to work with you. It's hope. It's not strategy. And that's the problem with networking, with saying that you work with SMEs, with saying that you sell every HR service under the sun. Now, there are many tools that I talk about that I advocate for to get these excellent results, to get you to 70K or above intentionally, right? Email marketing being one of them. You are able to have a conversation with people without even being in the room with them. You are able to build a relationship with them without them even being in the room. And you can do this en masse. And you can see who's engaging with your content and who isn't engaging. When you post on LinkedIn, there are lurkers. People may see your post, people may not. People might like it, they might not. It's very uncontrollable. Whereas email marketing, if you've got people who are hairdressers, let's say, for example, on your list, and you are talking about a world that hairdressers are interested in, they'll be opening your emails. You'll be building a relationship with them en masse. You'll be sending out one email, let's say, for example, one email a week, and let's say you have 100 people, and you have an open rate, industry average is about 30%, but let's say, for example, you've got 40%, which is possible because your audience is actually your audience rather than a big spread, then you are more likely to build that relationship with them. And then you will see who's interacting with your emails and who isn't, who's opening them, who's clicking on things. And then you can be intentional with how you approach that situation. If you can see that somebody's always opening up your emails, always clicking on things, you can have automations in the back of email marketing so that certain things happen, so that they are sent certain special offers or they're sent certain emails or whatever. You can unsubscribe people who aren't interacting, or you can send them a specific message and say, listen, are you interested or not? And then you can be, as I said, this is all very intentional. This is how you build a business, with intent, with strategy, rather than hoping for the best. So hopefully all this makes sense as to what my mantra is all about. My mantra is all about focusing on the tasks which get results quickly and efficiently. Now, I want to talk about lead gen very briefly, because lead gen is super important, right? Everyone's out there. Everyone wants more leads for their business. I get it. And I see people post on LinkedIn and say, I'm having this event. I saw it recently. There's a lady, she posted it, said, how to win more clients for your HR consultancy or something along those lines. Loads of people signed up for it. I ran an event, I don't know, 2 months ago, 3 months ago, whatever it was. Loads of people turned up, right? Because everybody wants more leads, everybody wants more clients, everyone wants more sales, more profits. It makes sense. So let's talk about lead gen a second, right? Let's be strategic with our lead gen. There are 3 ways to build an audience, right? To get leads for your business. You can build an audience, you can borrow an audience, and you can buy an audience. And buying an audience is the quickest and easiest way to get an audience, right? It's controllable. There are maths behind this. We know if we show adverts on Facebook, we know what an average industry click-through rate is. There have been billions and millions of data out there from everybody who's adverts, so we know what to expect. If your adverts are outperforming industry averages, great. Let's ramp them up. Rather than putting £5 a day, let's put £10 a day. Let's put £15 a day, because we know we're generating leads, right? Why wouldn't you increase your ad spend? Alternatively, if you are not meeting industry averages, then we know something's wrong. So stop running those adverts. Let's tweak something. Let's change something. Let's be intentional. Let's be strategic. Let's not be hoping, because adverts are not gambling. We know because of industry averages what we should be expecting. And therefore, if you are not getting the industry averages, something needs to change, right? And it's the same with, let's say, for example, direct mail, right? If you send out some sort of letter in the post to somebody who is in your target audience and you do not get certain levels of responses, again, you know something's wrong. So you don't send out any more letters. You send out, let's say, for example, 100, right? We know that industry averages have a 2% click-through rate, something along those lines. So if you are getting 2% of the people out there who are responding to your direct mail, great. That's met the industry average. Send out more letters. If you're not getting 2, then there's something wrong. If you're getting more than 2, great. Let's ramp it up. And it's the same with cold calling. It's the same with turning up at their place of work. These are all things which are not normal for HR consultants, because they all tend to do the exact same thing, which is hope and pray about their marketing. Post on LinkedIn. Go networking. These are not methods that you can control. These are methods where you build an audience, right? SEO is one of these things, but it takes time. It's not something that you can control as such. SEO is a little bit more controllable. Posting on LinkedIn is a little bit more controllable. If you're really good at it, you can get excellent results from it. But if you're not really good at it, then adverts, direct mail, once you've got these pieces in place and you are meeting the industry averages, then all you need to do is just turn them on, turn the adverts on. It's like a cash machine. You know, once you've got your adverts running and you're putting £1 in and getting £5 out, then put £10 in and get £50 out. Put £100 in and get £500 out, right? Ramp it up. And that's that is being strategic. You have been strategic with who it is that you want to speak to, with the messages that you want to put in front of them, and you are being strategic by measuring the results. So that is how you measure, but that is how you are successful at lead gen. You have to try something and then work out whether or not it's working. And if it is working, keep going. If it ain't working, stop and change something, right? That is how we are strategic with LinkedIn. Now, the other thing that I talk about, as I say, is sales, right? Sales is super important, because when someone meets you, they have 3 options. They can either buy what you're selling, they can not buy what you're selling, or they can go and buy from someone else. Now, sales, rather than sending through proposals, sales is something you can control. You can have scripts, you can have industry averages. You know that you should be closing, let's say, for example, 1 in 3 people, 1 in 4 people. And sales is a skill that you can learn. A lot of people say to me, oh, Nick, I'm scared of selling. I don't want to sell. I blah, blah, blah. You already sell every day as a HR consultant, because you have to sell business owners on the solutions that you are proposing, right? You have to talk to them about the bad side of doing whatever it is that they're doing. You have to talk to them about the good side of doing what it is that you are proposing. And you have to sell them on the solution. Sales takes this to the next level, but it is something you can control. It is something you can learn. And when you get really good at it, that is how you are able to build your business, by being intentional with your conversations, with your qualifying questions before you get on a sales call, all that good stuff. So hopefully all of this has made sense to you and you understand a bit more about my mantra. As I say, I thought it was already out there, but perhaps it isn't. So here we go. Here's another episode where I've gone on a bit of a rant about what it is that I do. Now, if any of this sounds really good and you want to work with me, great. I got 2 options for you, the Success Squad or the Fast Lane Formula. Either way, whichever package you choose to work with me, that's what we do. We are intentional about who it is we're speaking to, what it is we're selling to them, how we're going to convert them from prospect to lead to client to more clients. That is what working with me is all about. It's about building a successful business. So I talk about 70K, but let's be honest, it could be 100K, it could be 140K. It doesn't really matter. If you do the maths, if you work out why I've said 70K, I talk about it in my book. 70K is a great number and it's very achievable. And once you realize why I'm saying 70K, you can actually do 140K. It's not that big a step as much as it sounds. Either way, whether or not you want to work with me or not, hopefully this episode has been useful for you, and you've understood a bit more about my mantra and why I am so very much focused on niching, on packaging services, on intentional lead generation, why I believe in adverts so much. It's because this stuff works, and it only works, it works. And it works if you do it. It only works if you do it. You know, a lot of HR consultants will listen to this and they will do nothing. They will go back to their comfort zones. I hope that you have listened to this and thought to yourself, you know what, he's onto something. I'm going to go and explore this with him. Most people won't. Most people will listen to this and stay quite happily in their comfort zone. That's okay. That's fine. But if you are one of the people listening along and you are thinking to yourself, do you know what? He's onto something. I want to build a 70K or more HR consultancy. Then click one of the links in the show notes. Go and explore the Success Squad, the Fast Lane Formula. Go and look at the book. It'd be great to hear from you. In the meantime, as ever, because it's Wednesday, get marketing. Because without marketing, there's no sales. And without sales, there's no business. So get marketing. Hey there, and thanks for listening to the Marketing Made Easy for HR Consultants podcast. If you've enjoyed the show, then please consider taking a minute to help us grow by sharing the episode with a friend or colleague, or by leaving a positive review on podchaser.com. And make sure to hit subscribe so you don't miss out on any of the upcoming episodes if you haven't done so already. I've been your host, Nick Paninsky, and if you've got any questions or you want to know more about today's topic, then feel free to reach out to me on LinkedIn. I'd be delighted to hear from you. See you next time.